And yeah, what was I expecting to happen? Už jako začínám tenhle level jedinej, tedy jako lituju toho, že musím sbírat coiny.
Co beru?
Beru 5000krát lepší.
Já nevím, ze začátku se vypadalo docela jako, že se těšíš na Manix. Beatnul jsem to, what the fuck? No, okay.
Alright, so I don't know how this will go. This is like completely unscripted, but I'll try and kind of provide some sort of tutorial on how to beat this, because there's a couple of things which I learned which it would have definitely helped me a lot if I had known them prior to actually like learning it. So I just go to a copyable I've got, and I'll just go from like the beginning to the end and try and kind of give my tips on it. Yeah, it's just complete and utter rambling, so kind of apologize for that. But yeah, the beginning's relatively easy. There's nothing that much to say about it. These orbs, depending on if you're like hitting these yellow orbs like early or late, you kind of have to either wait or hit them immediately, so keep that in mind. This slope, it's very easy to kind of start holding too early, so yeah, kind of keep in mind that you have to actually be on the slope before you start holding. It's really easy to just hit the block. Actually, what I remember, quite easy to click before you hit the pink orb. Like, I died here so many times that I just jumped off of this block and into the ground, so make sure you wait a lot there. This jump right here is probably like the biggest choke point of the beginning, I'd say, because it's easy to like jump too much and also to like misjudge where you're actually jumping. So what I did was I jumped quite a bit over this saw blade, and then pretty much as soon as I landed I just tapped a little bit, and that worked pretty much all the time. This jump, it's synced to a certain beat in the song. I'll see if it's kind of when you hear like the boom 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 boom, it's like the fourth beat of that, and you jump. Just listen to the background music or like the background beat. It's pretty well synced, so that shouldn't be a problem. Then you get to this part, which is pretty free. You just, when your ship is around here, you just click once and then you fall down. When you're in the wave, you just go up to about the top half of the screen and then go down. These parts are all buffers, basically. I mean, this orb isn't, but it's not that bad. These two clicks, you can buffer the first click, but you sometimes get stuck on like this block, and then just kind of, it makes it weird, the second timing, so I just recommend waiting and then doing 2 clicks. This part's like just pretty much auto. You just hold. You don't even have to like click out of this. You can just hold out of it and then click these two, Again, here you can just hold to automatically go up. This coin's relatively difficult because... Alright, so as soon as your wave gets basically above this grey bar, you're gonna like let go and then click again. Now, but what you'll see is that the screen kind of goes completely dark as you're going up. So you just kind of have to remember where the kind of screen at the top or the grey bar ends, and then you kind of have to just imagine that it's still there, so you know where the kind of slopes are. It's also really easy to not go up enough, so make sure you go up and up a lot more than you actually think, and then don't do the second click too early. It's quite easy to like do that. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that coin. It's not that impossible once you actually like get down to it, but it's still like one of the biggest choke points in the whole level. Then you got this coin, which like is just horrible because you have a big ship here, right? And then you see this big portal. So you're normally always a big ship here. So how do you become mini? Well, somehow if you hit the portal really low, like here, you're still a mini ship here. So basically you just have to aim for like the very bottom part of the portal. So what I usually do is just do 2 clicks through this part and then try and just aim low after the second click. You're just gonna have to practice this part a lot. It's probably the hardest part of the level, if not for like the final straight fly. So yeah, massive choke point. Then you got this key, which is really annoying because what normally happens is you just hold into this blue portal and you'd be the ball and you go down and it will be free. But with the coin, you have to kind of stop holding when you hit the ship portal and then go through the Q portal. And what's really easy to do is to stop holding too early, so you just hit these spikes over here. So what I do is just kind of get the timing down to release at the ship portal and then do 2 extra clicks to just fly straight into the ball portal. After I figured that out, I never died here. Actually, I don't think I died here ever, but it definitely became much more consistent in like runs and my copy level. This part's really easy. Somehow died here a couple of times, even though it's synced pretty good and it's just a small tap. Yeah, so this part is normally like auto, but I found that on the higher hertz, it kind of doesn't bounce you up enough. So then you actually skip the speed portal here. Or like, you're just supposed to hold, but you just kind of don't hit it. And it'll just kill you when you get to this part. Alright, so for this part, it's easier to kind of show you how to do it whilst in the level. So I'll just put on hitbox and speed hack and then go into it. So for this one, you just kind of, when you're in the middle of the screen, you start holding. And then for this click, when you see a wave touch the roof, you basically immediately go down, but just a little bit. You can pretty much start holding instantly because there's just a very small slope in the way. And then you start holding, and then you kind of let go once your wave is in the middle of this block and this block, or this line and this line, or like a little bit above it, and then you perfectly go down. Again, you want to be in the same position basically between this line and this line, because if you're too low, you'll see that it didn't happen that time, but you usually bonk your head. Yeah, see that time I bumped my head there on this slope. So it's better to be at the top than at the bottom. And then again for this part, once you're like below this time, but once you're below the same line that I mentioned earlier, you can click, and then when you're above it, you can click again. And then you don't actually have to do a third click, but it'll basically never kill you if you do it, so, and it can save you in some situations. Here, just basically click twice when you're in the middle of the screen. This is a buffer. Then you wait a bit, and then I play with my mouse. So in this part, I kind of position my hand for more of a spam position where I can spam more easily. So you just kind of click those twice. You're usually not this slow, I'm in speed hack, so I'm just going to do that a bit slower. You wait a bit, and then you kind of hold this orb, like not a lot, but you don't tap it. You definitely have to hold it a bit. And then there is another orb here, but I found it easier to just kind of hold and completely skip it. So you can hit it, but if you hit it, you kind of have to make sure you know where you are. With holding, you just kind of hold. You just gotta make sure that when you hit the wave pole, you don't start spamming immediately, that you kind of, you hold up a bit before you start spamming. That transition's quite bad, it kind of comes out of nowhere, so you're just gonna have to get used to it. It's kind of an annoying, you see that you just don't see it until you hit the blue pad, so you just kind of have to get used to that. The coin here, you just have to hit that incredibly late. Now, in this run, I obviously didn't get the keys at the beginning, but normally the coin is right here. This wave portal, you basically start holding once you see your icon with wave, cube, whatever, in the middle of this part, like between these blocks and these blocks. You have to hit this blue orb a little bit later. Like if you hit it early, you see that you died to that invisible saw blade. So kind of hit the blue orb once you're like underneath, like basically the SOL part, like at the end of the slope. This upward straight fly, I'd just say kind of go up a little bit more than you think. I don't know, this part's just memory again. There's not that much to say about it. This ending part, jump when you're like at the edge of this part, because you can't hit that part, otherwise you die. So you have to click once you're there. Then again, I mean, this is just normal timing, nothing to say about this part. And then there's this final straight fly, which is probably the hardest part of the level. I did die here twice, so that should say something. The first part of the straight fly isn't bad, but what's bad is this transition. It's really easy to die here because you can't fall into it like you do with a normal pole, because there's a massive there's just a spike in the way. So what I did is I kind of held and then did my straight fly. So I was like flying, then I'd hold for a bit, and then I'd continue straight flying. It worked for me like the third time. You do have to be quite calm to do it though, because otherwise you'll just kind of either hold too much or start holding too late, or not hold enough. Yeah, try to do that straight fly a lot. You'll need it because you do not want to die here that many times from zero. And then for this last part, as soon as you hit the pole, as soon as you hit the end cube pole, you just want to start holding, and you'll line up with that final spike. Another thing you can do is jump as soon as the Y in the crazy kind of passes you. You start holding and you also make it. Or you can just be a true baller and just kind of jump, you know. So yeah, that's Manix. Hopefully that helped someone.